something to say, there's something to say.
Hey everybody, House21 here, and I just wanted to do a quick status update to show you what I've been up to with my Ofna body here. Now, for you guys who've been keeping track, you know that this car here is actually, an Ofna body. It's a body for an Ofna DM-One that I've modified to fit my Traxxas slash Rally LCG, and had it out this weekend. Did some runs just to check out the gearing I have in it. It's good for about 60 miles an hour, and it did it just fine. And it was nice and very stable and a great, just really great feel. The only thing is, I discovered that the body itself is not the most durable thing in the world. And if you see right here, you see there's a little crack right there, and that's because apparently a rock chip or something hit the Lexan, which is really thin on this body, and caused it to crack and almost break off. And if I'm going to try to get this thing to the speeds that I want to, that's not going to do. So I took some inspiration from my boy Too Quick For You out there, and there's a few other guys who have done as well and inspired me. But I took a few moments and I fiberglassed the inside of this guy. Now, I'll admit I cheated a little bit. If you look at Too Quick For You's videos, he has a very detailed, very thorough walkthrough of how to properly fiberglass one of these bodies. I decided that I took a lot of the steps that he did, but instead of doing multiple layers of glass and multiple layers of resin, I just took some fiberglass cloth that I had laying around from a previous project, and I secured it with some good old spray adhesive instead of the shoe glue that Too Quick For You used. And then I figured that the majority of the body was going to come from the composite structure itself, so I wanted to have my windows open so I could see the instrumentation inside, so I didn't necessarily have to pull the body every time I came to a stop. But I just used one layer of cloth, which I secured down, as I said, with the regular spray adhesive to hold on to the body. And then instead of using formal epoxy resin or fiberglass resin that you get from the auto parts store or Home Depot or such, I decided to be a little different, and I used Gorilla epoxy, which has a higher bonding strength. So most normal epoxies you see in stores, they're about 1500 psi bonding strength. This Gorilla stuff is about 3300 the psi bond strength, so it's pretty durable, pretty hardcore stuff. And when it dries, it's pretty tough. So this isn't done curing yet, but just the good old knock test, this thing's pretty strong. Now, like I said, I didn't go quite as hardcore as some of the other guys out there, because my main goal is to have some more structural rigidity, just have this thing hold together a little bit better. But I also was concerned about having it too heavy. So all in all, like I said, that you can't really judge just by the video, but yeah, the fiberglass over these formed in pieces of the body really helped to give it a lot more structural rigidity. It's a much stronger piece than before. But before, I couldn't lift this body up like this because the body will flex too much, and I was afraid that it would literally shear and break here at this stress point. Now it's actually got some good strength, but still has a little bit of give, and that's really what I wanted. So, and the other nice thing about using the Gorilla stuff is, let's see if I can get in here closely, I can still see the nice weave mesh pattern, and that's just a little thing. And this is not a show finish at all. You see, it's not perfectly smooth, but I think it looks kind of cool, and it serves my purposes. And pardon the blue lines here, because I wanted to trace out the windows, I had to use these to indicate cut marks. So it's just kind of quick and dirty. So again, it wasn't intended to be a show finish, at least from this side. But you look on this side, and it's kind of a sleeper a little bit, because other than just some little more rough trimming I have to do in order to get the last pieces of fiberglass that are sticking out from the back to not be visible, you couldn't really tell, what this thing has underneath the surface. So I'm pretty happy with how it came out. All right, so I will have some of the actual build steps in along the way, showing the process, towards the end. But as always, get out there, have yourselves a good time. Don't be afraid to try something stupid. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. In this case, my silly idea seems to work pretty well, so I'm pretty happy. So now that I've got this guy done, the next step is to do this guy. So as you see here, this guy needs if you've watched like my most recent videos, you see some of the hardcore bashing that I've been up to over the winter season, and I've basically put this body through hell. But haven't broken it yet, although I did do some pretty serious damage to it. So once I get a little bit of free time, same treatment that went on this guy, going on this guy. And and the Lexan on this body is actually a lot more durable, a lot tougher than the Lexan on the Ofna body to begin with. So once I glass this thing up, it's going to be pretty much a tank. So just so you guys know, the fiberglass that I use is actually good old auto parts store Bondo fiberglass cloth. You buy this, it's not very expensive, but it comes in a pretty large sheet. One sheet gave me enough material so I can actually do both vehicles. And like I said, as soon as I get some free time, I'm going to go ahead and do this guy too. I was going to repaint it, but I kind of like the way that the weave material or the mesh looks underneath here. And the body's earned its battle scar, so I actually think it gives us some character. And the reason that this paint came out like this was this first round of paint was actually plastic paint, not Lexan paint, so it didn't etch into the material quite as well as it could have. And then the fact that I went out and was bashing in the cold weather made the paint brittle, and it just flaked off under any high impacts. And if you've been watching my videos, you've seen that this body has gone through some extremely high impacts. But like I said, I think that it's definitely earned its battle scars. And I kind of, I'm thinking about just featuring those and making it into a badge of honor. So just so you guys know, if you decide to do this yourself, if you want to get extra strength from your fiberglassing, the strength in composite materials comes from the actual fabric that's used, the cloth. So not to go too much into detail on this, but for any composite material, the gut, or the easy solution is just piling a whole bunch of epoxy resin because you think that that's the strong stuff. No, when you have materials like this, the actual strength comes from the epoxy locking the cloth material into a certain shape, and then when you deflect that shape, it causes a tensile stress within the material that basically pulls on each of these little strands, and those built up gives you all your strength. So it's a kind of more advanced concept, and I can go more to that later if you guys are interested. But the bottom line is, if you want to do this yourself and the first round isn't strong enough, add up multiple layers of cloth. That's going to give you your strength. Don't just pile on epoxy, because all you're really going to do is just make a thicker layer of not as strong. You're basically going to compromise your integrity. Multiple layers of fiber or of glass. That's how you do it. All right, but I talked your ear off again. But as always, you guys, don't be afraid to have silly ideas. Get out there, break it, fix it, do it all over again. Remember to fly, fix, fly. Our House 21 signing off, and I'll see you guys next time.